Hello and welcome to Light Up Your Life with Kathleen and Jonathan Seals, where we bust limiting beliefs, break through mindset hacks, and today we're talking about sales.
Yeah. Important topic, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, it's everything sales.
Sales for anyone, really. If you're a non-sales person, if you're familiar with sales, today is going to be for you.
Yes. Yes. And you guys may not know, we do have a background in sales, many years in sales.
Let them know that, yeah.
I myself was in sales for about 15 years in the ball and dance industry, and Kathleen has been in sales her entire life. Dang near, truly.
Yeah. Started with Girl Scouts.
Thank you.
I sold anything and everything all the time.
And very well.
Yeah. I had no fear. I would just ask everybody. You learn to ask literally every single person.
It's true.
And I did.
And
I told them the benefits.
Yeah.
And I just did not.
These are the features and the benefits,
right.
girl.
Here's why you want it.
Right. You want
Here's
this
what you're getting. Yeah. I did not care. Like 2 for $5?
Mm-hmm.
This is how long ago I was selling Girl Scout cookies. You can get 2 for $5 now. I don't think you can get 1 box for $5.
I think it's like one for like $7.50. Probably
Like
$10.
a
I think it's
movie
like
ticket.
$10 actually.
Girl Scout
That's
cookies
crazy.
are equivalent to movie tickets. It's crazy.
Inflation.
Anyway, so yes, I've been in sales a very long time.
Yeah. And we joke about it, you guys, but honestly,
I love sales.
yes, she does. She really does. And she loves sales not just because of how should I put it? I believe she loves sales because of what it does for people.
Yeah.
Because anyone who is going to purchase anything they both desire or need are going to be sold.
Yeah.
Flat out.
And I want them to have a good experience.
Yeah.
I care so much about the experience of the buyer.
It's important.
I want a buyer to have a really good time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And when they do with her, they have the best time in the world. I mean, especially because when she comes around, we'll go over all this today. But ultimately, if you really think about it, the first person who sells anyone is themselves. When you decide that you want something, you sold yourself on the idea of going to get it.
Yes.
Whether you go online and find it, or you go actually to a store to get it.
Yes.
When you get there, what you're looking for is not someone to sell you something. You've already done that.
Yeah.
You're looking for someone to give you enough information so that you can make a conscious decision on what you truly desire and need.
And on a separate note completely, you want someone to encourage you to make the choice you want to make, that you walked in with. You had a choice already in your mind. You wouldn't get up, take yourself to a store and walk in if you didn't make a choice to do all of those things. You know, you decided, I'm going to go look at these things, or I'm going to go whatever, like buy some jewelry or whatever. You don't just accidentally stumble into a store like
Exactly,
that, you know?
Exactly. And the salesperson is the guide, as I mentioned before, and they are the experience giver.
Yeah, they're like a tour guide.
Yeah, they really are
They
the
know
experience
more
giver.
about the area than you do. They know all the things that are happening.
Yes,
like it's very much like a tour guide.
Yeah, which is why when you have a great experience with someone who's selling you something, you're very appreciative.
You want to go back.
Enjoy it. Yeah, you tell people about it, and you do that because
and you buy more.
It's a great guy. You know, for
because
example,
you find out more stuff. They show you other things that you are interested in, that you like. Like,
yes.
I love a good sale.
When we were in Prague, we all of our different groups went on different excursions, and several of us went on a tour. And when we got back, we compared tour guides. I mean, it's a natural thing to do, right? We had the best ones personally, we felt. And the truth is we did. We told everyone else about our experience. They go, oh man, I wish I had your tour guide. I even got lost on my tour and jumped in another tour guide's thing for a little while and then got picked up by another person because they were going the same way I was going. I got 3 different tours. I got a chance to see everybody's abilities.
That's so funny.
Right? It was crazy. So truly, we had the best one. 100%.
So you know, I think part of it too is that what we project onto someone too, like the tour guide thing. It's funny that you say that because we have always had amazing bus drivers and tour guides on my band buses. But I think part of it is that we expected it. And so we treated them, we'd walk on with like a happy, like, hey, how you doing today?
Yes.
So, like we would just introduce ourselves and get to know the person. And so I think our tour guide in Europe was also Robert, which is funny. But my dad's cruise guy was Robert. And like, we always make really good friends with people. I mean, my parents are both good salespeople. And so I think it's just in the family. And my aunt and uncle, like, hello.
Yes.
He could sell you
It's your own
river
shoes.
to a boat, right?
The
Like,
river to
or
a boat.
to the river. Man, he's just like,
At the river to a boat thing.
Yeah.
But you know, I think also that comes with you being so comfortable and so excited about sales and so understanding about it in general because
helping someone achieve something they want.
Right. Because truly, it takes a lot to get a bad sales experience from both of us. We walked away from experience. We're like, oh, that was so bad. And then we think, how can we help them?
Yeah.
This person doesn't want to do a poor job.
Right?
They want help.
Yeah.
I really think they want
You
help.
could hear the things that they
they
were
were trying their
struggling
best.
with. And I could just walk in and give him like a business report, like, here, please.
Right. So why not be good to them,
Oh,
right?
but
Well,
they don't want it.
Yeah,
They
you don't
didn't
want to.
ask.
But that's the thing. You don't want to see them struggle. So you go in being the best consumer you possibly can,
Yeah.
hoping to get the
You're
best
trying to give
experience in
them the best
return.
sale. Yeah.
Doesn't always happen. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Because I just like to buy, but that's okay. That's me. I walk in if I know I want something. I want it. I'm not going to let some idiot keep me from getting it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Very true. Very true.
That's how I
And that's
think.
what's so important about the journey is that there are people like ourselves who love the sales industry, and we will go in knowing what we want, and no matter what they do, how poorly they do their job, we are not going to walk away without it because we came for something.
Right. Exactly.
However, that's
There's
few and far
so
between.
many people who are not like that. Exactly.
I say most of the world is not like
Yeah,
that.
they're highly influenced by the experience of the sale.
Extremely.
And they're unaware.
Yes.
They don't realize how affected they are by the energy of the person and how much the tentativeness of the buyer sometimes affects the salesperson too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you meet two unconfident people, you put them together, you got a big unconfident situation.
Yeah.
You put one confident person with an unconfident person, it's a great experience.
Exactly.
It might be a little scary at first for the non-confident person because they're like, whoa.
Right.
But as soon as they realize the genuineness of the confident person, it's great.
Exactly. And the truth be told, the confident person needs to be the person who is selling the product. When
Yeah.
it really boils down to it,
Yeah, 'cause
that's
they
how
know
the
more.
ratio should be.
And so
Yeah.
here's what I
consumers
want to
expect
start
them, right?
with. Yeah. So today we're talking about sales. The question I have for you is, have you been in a situation where you haven't made a sale and you really wish you did? I'm going to tell you what you've missed. There's a few things that you have missed. And this is so funny. This might be two parts because there's just so much juice and good stuff in it. And it's going to be a lot more at some point too. But some of these pieces are learned from lots of different places, but I got so much sales training in my careers because two of them were major sales positions and managing a sales team. So they would bring in like really big name people to teach us, especially at Best Buy.
Yeah.
I think their training program is incredible. I am amazed. And so, at least when I was there, the training program, the culture, everything, coming from Disney, that's a lot.
And I agree with
I
what
hold
you
a
told
high
me.
standard.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It just means you taught
They
me from
knew
what you
the
learned.
culture piece, and guys, that is so important. But as a big company, anyway, so I got tons of sales training from really, really, really credible people, and then I put myself in a position to receive more training later. So, from the John Maxwell team, I mean, I got the theories of persuasion from Robert Cialdini. My gosh, you guys, it is. While I was sitting there, all I could think was, how can I apply this? How can I apply this one? This one.
Yeah.
There's so much, and I just want to share a lot of it. But one of the first things that he said was, and he's an expert, he's written several books, he's a professor. He said that more so than finding out if, they say the know, like, and trust factor, right? They say the person has to know you, like you, and trust you in order to buy.
Extremely
So
important.
those are three things. Number one, these are three things that they need to know you, like you, and trust you. Before that, even, he said this, they have to know you like them.
Yes.
And this is the thing, they don't know it. Your buyer does not know that they need you to like them most of the time.
This is so powerful.
It's subconscious.
Write that down.
Right,
Text it,
this is a writer down.
something. Yeah.
They have to know that you like them, like them. They need to know you really actually like them and care about them. And they can sense it. If this is something that you can't fake because people smell fake, this is something that you can't pretend to like someone.
Yeah, of course.
You actually have to like them. So there's two things that I want to give you, two tools that I want to give you that are preemptive before you ever meet your customer, before you ever talk to them on the phone, before you ever write a sales funnel with copy, before any of that. Two different ways you can go about this. Number one, imagine them. If you have a name, if you have like a scheduled call with someone, or you have like an appointment where someone's coming in for a sales experience, you need to write their name down with your hand. Write it, the whole name, as much of the name as you can, and just imagine them. Think about them. If you have a phone number, wonder, where's this phone number from? Did they move from somewhere? Get into them, because the more curious you are about them, the more the conversation's going to go really well. People love it when you care about who they are and that you're curious about them. And it's easy for me. This is why I was so challenged with it, is because I am really an introvert. I'm a trained extrovert. And I have both sides from my parents, so it's all over the place. But I definitely am more shy about interactions, probably because I'm not like a lot of other people. I'm really weird and quirky, and
yeah, but I love you anyway, girl.
But I know that and I can be really intense too. So I know
I love you anyway, girl.
I know that I have to really put my Disney hat on, my like sales professional hat on, my servant leader hat
It's so
on.
important.
And I need to wonder who this person is that I'm helping. What do they need from me? Where are they from? Why are they calling me? Or why do we even have this appointment? Just like wonder into them and create some awesome like curiosity.
So it's so important.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, just interject for a quick
Because
second.
that's going to help the next step after this.
Yes, I was just gonna say that it's pivotal because it creates the foundation, the framework for how the interaction is going to go. It really does. Mm-hmm. I did not believe this until I witnessed it firsthand watching her when I was working for her at Arthur Murray, and I would see her take a list of different names and different numbers, and she would pause for a minute and just look at the number. And then she would kind of trail off a little bit, and she would think, and she'd smile, and her attitude would change. She'd perk up a little bit, and she'd go, okay, and then get on the phone. And as soon as she said hello, the person on the other end lit up. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I made that phone call. It was like, oh hi, yeah, yeah, oh, thanks for calling. Oh yeah, all of a sudden they're like they're best friends.
I never talked
hello
in my life.
Now, this is why it's so important, guys, okay? Because she does have a system with this, and it does work. If you just listen to what she has to say and follow this, you will find out there are no such thing as objections, no such thing as no sales, no such thing as people who don't want your product.
Yeah.
Because when they would come into the studio after talking to her, sometimes a week later, as soon as I would point her out and they would see her, they would go, oh, Kathleen! And run to her and hug her and go, oh my gosh, it's so good to finally meet you.
They met on the phone.
They met on the phone. And I'm like, do you know this person? She's like, no. I called them yesterday. I was like, what are you, wait, what? How are you doing this? I've never seen that reaction from somebody coming in. And what do? They purchased dance lessons because they went to their friend's house to go dance. It was crazy.
Well, and
so this mentality, this focus is essential.
Yeah. So I actually should have started with something else before this even. Before you even write their name, or the second thing I'm going to say, start with the presupposition that they want what you have. Now, this really only works if you have some kind of marketing or sales funnel where you're getting pre-qualified people. If you're cold calling, you can still do this though. But really, like I found, as opposed to door to door, it's much easier to have a business where someone contacts you. Mm-hmm. They fill out a web form. Even if it's just a simple landing page on your funnel, they gave you their information. They came to you with something. Yes, you may have marketed to them so they know you exist. That's mandatory. Marketing is so important. But the next step after the marketing piece is they gave you contact information. Now, when you get to contact them, the operating assumption is they want what you have. That's why they filled out an interest form. No one just gives up email addresses for like nothing. They expect something, and they must want what you have. And then what you have that they know you have has to lead to something else that you also have a service for or a product for. Exactly. I'm going to give you an example. So at Best Buy, they taught us that there are unknown needs. And when someone walks in with a need, there are a lot of unknown needs that they don't know about. That's why they're unknown needs. And the problem with unknown needs is they can become a real nuisance. They can become something that's like, let's say this, your garbage disposal is broken. You go to Best Buy to buy a garbage disposal. You know they have appliances, but you didn't know you needed a certain kind of cord, a power cord for it. Or so you get home and you got it, and the salesperson wasn't good or wasn't there, and you ended up with not everything you need. Now you can't install it. The plumber's still there waiting. You're paying them by the hour. This has become a big nuisance. Instead of you go there to buy something, they do a good job of finding out what you need and realize, oh, you're waiting on a plumber too? Let's get you out of here as fast as possible. Let me give you all the things you need.
Exactly. And that's a great sale.
Yeah. Or an Xbox. You know, dad goes in to buy an Xbox for his kid, or a Nintendo Switch, whatever it is. And he just goes and buys it. Gets home, realizes he doesn't have any games. He doesn't have any extra controllers. There's actually other kids in the house. There's no way. So he goes back, and he actually probably only realizes one thing. Dad, you didn't give me any games? No. So dad goes back to the store, gets a game. Dad goes home. Kid's like, well, I need more controllers. Okay, go get more controllers. So go get more controllers for his friends. Oh, but Dad, I gotta get online. I need an Xbox Live card. What? Yeah. Why doesn't this all come in the box? Because that's not how it's made. Because they want you to have the freedom to buy the things you need to buy and not be stuck with 4 controllers if you're just one person who's using it as a DVD player. Yeah. But if you have a good sales experience, all of that can never become a problem.
Exactly.
And eventually you're not going to go to Best Buy anymore. You're going to go somewhere closer, unless who can actually solve your problem.
Exactly.
Right? You're going to be like, screw this.
Yeah, you want to go where your problem can be solved.
Right.
And then that's way more possible.
And so that's why a good sales experience is so important. And then knowing that they want what you have. Yeah. They brought themselves there. They want what you have. So that's the number one operating assumption is they want it. And when you find out what they want, there's more that they need and they don't know.
Yes.
That's before anything else, because you're never going to have the final result if you don't already think that in your heart and believe it and believe they deserve it. They should have it. You should know how much joy it's going to bring to their life, or how happy the memories are that they're going to have playing games, you know, together as a family. Anything, whatever it is, dancing.
You get to
it doesn't
see
matter.
your
Riding in
product
the
as
car.
life-changing.
Yeah. It has to be, you know, if you don't believe in it enough, I always say this, if you were the type of salesman who has a vacuum sales job and you don't have the guts to throw dirt on the floor because you don't know if your vacuum's going to work, you shouldn't be selling that vacuum. Period.
True.
You need to believe in your stuff enough to throw dirt on the floor, and that's really what you do. You throw dirt on their floor, point out, by the way, this is what your life is like without my stuff.
Preach.
Sorry,
so
I'm totally on a tangent.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
All the mindset that you have to have before anything else, because you could do everything I say, but if you don't believe in your stuff, you could do everything I say, but it's not going to sell, and you're not going to have loyal customers. You're not going to have loyal clients. You're not going to have loyal anybody. They're just going to be like, oh, you're good at selling stuff you don't even take, or you don't even use, or you don't believe in. Like, it's not good. So that's very first. Then you get their name in your body, in your mind. If you're doing mass email marketing, then pick your ideal customer. Just make someone up. Really think about them. Give them a name. Give them an age. One age, not an age range. Make a person. Pretend like you're you're a writer, and you have to create a character. Create a movie character. Give this person a backstory. Give them hopes and dreams. Give them everything.
Why they need your product, and why you want to help them. All of that is there. You know what I mean?
And we're going to talk about this a lot, but we're talking about the science of getting rich too. And this is all part of it. This is how you create the results that you want in your life all over the place.
Guaranteed results.
Anywhere. Yeah, in any situation, not just sales. So you have this idea of the person. Then the other step that you can take, and this is going to sound interesting, crazy, hooky, whatever, it's Ho'oponopono. So there was a car salesman who, and Ho'oponopono is this Hawaiian practice, and I'm just going to give you the 4 phrases because you could just do that without knowing all the backstory about it and still get the results, because I did. So there's this car salesman who took his numbers from the year before. He compared them between two months from the same, or two of the same month from different years, right? So let's say August, both years, it's just made up. But this is a real person. And what he did 1 year after was he did Ho'oponopono before he met with any person for an appointment. And what that Ho'oponopono is you say 4 statements in your head. You don't have to say them out loud. It's just an ongoing dialogue in your head. And it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. This practice is one of the most powerful things in the world. Yeah.
It works.
When it comes to like having a running dialogue in your head, I would not put anything else in my head anymore.
I thought she was crazy, but it works.
So,
we use it on so many things.
I will have a whole session on Ho'oponopono for you guys because it is such a powerful tool and it is, oh my goodness, life-changing. So, and you're praying this to the divine, to source, to God, whoever you pray to. And I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you're putting yourself in this state of mind, this state of being. And what he did was he would say those 4 phrases before he would go out and meet the usually he had couples, but the couples or the single who were there to buy a car. And when he compared the numbers from 1 year to the year before, it was dramatically increased. In fact, there were a lot actually, I think, of couples that ended up buying 2 cars.
Wow. That's a great day for a car salesman.
One for each of them. And I'm telling you, this is something, it puts you in the right state of mind before you meet another human. You're there to service them. You're taking care of them. If you say a prayer too.
It does a subconscious work for you.
Pray that God guides you in the right way so you can do the right thing for the person. And help them achieve their dreams.
Yeah.
Your job as a salesperson is not to keep them from their dreams. Yeah. That's what their friends and family do. That's what everyone else in their life does.
We used to call people who didn't who didn't purchase dance lessons or who fizzled out too soon. We used to call those unfulfilled dreams.
Oh yeah.
There used to be a wall of people's names with their picture next to it, and we just look at it and just hurt us, and that would keep us from wanting to ever happen again. Yeah. This whole Ho'oponopono, she'll go more in depth another time for sure, because it's so important. And guys, believe it or not, it puts you in a certain headspace, a certain physical place to basically welcome people in and connect with them where they need to be connected to. It's very powerful.
They need a relationship.
So,
yeah. So
those are the first.
Those are the first.
That's the mental state of mind.
Yeah, that's the mental state. The other preconception, the other thing that you need to know is that unless you are painfully aware of otherwise, you know more than they do.
Yes. About
your stuff. You know more about what it does, how it works, how it benefits them, what the options are. You know all of that way more than they do. So let yourself know that, be confident in that, and know that you can find the right solution for them, whatever that is. Because if you have multiple options, they don't need to know all the options, but you have to know that you could make the right recommendation if you needed to.
Right. Very true. That's something that I think a lot of us fall short in, especially if we feel like we don't know enough to be able to give enough information.
You still know more than they do.
You still know more than they do. And I remember this because when I first started teaching ballroom dance, I spent a month in training, and then I went on my first lesson just after that month, and I remember them saying, "Jonathan, you have a lesson." I said, "When?" "Right now." I said, wait, I'm not prepared. I don't know what to do. He goes, "Listen, you haven't taught a lesson yet, so you have no idea what to do. So I'm going to tell you what you can do. Go out there, make a friend, and teach them merengue first. Just do merengue first." That's what I did. I put my mind in the right position. I said, okay, I'm going to make a friend. And I did. And we connected. I taught him merengue first. And then all of a sudden, the information started coming from me. And this woman had been dancing 2 years to my prior in ballroom. So I had no idea what she knew, except she knew more than me. And at the end of it, she said, "Oh my God, that was so wonderful. I learned so many new things. That was fantastic." And I'm all, what did I do? I made a friend and regurgitated what I knew, but I still knew more than her. And once I realized that, it's like, wow, I have something to offer.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't come to me if I didn't have something to offer.
Yeah.
And that's when everything switched for me. And then it got easy.
And that was even just a couple months, right?
Yeah. It was 1 month of training, and then I was 1 week without teaching, and then I taught.
So guys, the reason I asked that is because even this is important for me to know. So I've spent like 2.5 years studying internet marketing, copywriting, a whole bunch of topics like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like I don't know enough to teach anybody anything. And I'm listening to him. He spent 1 month in teacher training. It is absurd that I think that, because obviously I have spent considerably more hours practicing it than he did in a month of teacher dance training. Holy Moses. I am so silly for that. But that's, if you feel the same way and you've spent more than 1 month in your business,
You can do it.
you can do it. You know more than the person that you're going to help.
Yeah. So true.
That is
So true.
that's so powerful. Thank you. Thank you. We all have learning to do. Oh man. So that's first and foremost, right? So before you even walk out and meet them or make the phone call, you're making the connection in your mind and you're getting it right in your heart.
Right.
And you know more than them, and you know that what you have is good for them.
Yes.
Those are so important. If you don't know
That's the mindset.
if you don't know that to your core, like know it, then you're going to walk out there feeling willy-nilly and like, I don't know if this, I believe it might work, but it's not, maybe not for you. Like you got to be so confident.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know even if you don't know what you think you don't know.
Yeah.
That makes any sense.
And think of it this way. Even if he gave her just a little bit of dancing, that was better than no dancing, right? She could have not had a lesson, or she could have had a lesson with someone who knew something.
Right.
So let's say you're selling supplements or something, right? No supplements is definitely not better than the wrong ones, or some, like, it's going to be, you're not selling, drugs. It's not like they have bad side effects, right? And so you accidentally give them magnesium when they really needed probiotics. Well, magnesium's still good for them.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to ruin their life.
Exactly.
By getting them the wrong thing. And you won't even do that. I am sure you know more than you think you know. Yeah. So whatever it is, you're not going to mess up on them.
Yeah, super important.
Yeah, unless you're a surgeon or doctor.
I'm getting super excited. I might be getting ahead of myself.
Okay, what's next?
But I feel like one of the things that we do is, let's say we have this first experience, we do exactly that, we get connected with the individual, and they're loving what we're doing, they're loving the conversation, everything is great. And then at the very end, we say, okay, so it'll be this much.
Wait. Yeah, I think before we even get there, we have to get there. Yeah,
I might be getting excited.
Totally jumping ahead. Yes, because they haven't gotten there yet. They're not making the sale yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is like, have you ever had trouble making a sale? Yes. There's a reason before the reason, you're going to say. So we so often sometimes will create a great relationship with the person, but we make a friend, and we're not in a place to make a recommendation anymore, because do your friends really influence you in the same way as a professional would influence you, or an expert would influence you? We have to be positioned as an expert.
Right.
And as I always loved when I was at Arthur Murray, the scholastic idea. I used all kinds of educational words because it's a school. I'm not selling
100%.
things. I'm enrolling you in lessons. You don't buy college. You enroll in college because you're learning a skill.
Exactly.
So I had to use that for my sake, because I wasn't like selling stuff. I was a guidance counselor. I was helping them achieve their dance dreams. Now, when I was a sales manager at Best Buy, I was a sales manager, but still, I knew I was an expert. I knew that I was there to be able to help them, but an expert can only help someone if they ask questions.
Yes, very true. You don't know what to help them with if you don't have the answers.
You can't just assume.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would always tell them that, like a doctor, I don't know that it hurts unless you tell me. As a dance teacher, I would tell them that all the time. Let me know if anything hurts, because just like a doctor, I don't know if it hurts unless you tell me. And it shouldn't hurt. It should never hurt. So, but the same thing goes when you're in any sales position. You have to position yourself as an expert.
Instead of making a friend.
Yeah. You can make positive relationships and care about this person, but you have to hold your position, or they don't look at you like you're a professional anymore.
This is so true and so powerful, because as I mentioned before, you guys, she's fantastic at what she does. And I was good at sales before I started working with her. I was great at it when I started working with her. I couldn't help but be great. It just worked. So what I'm saying is that I ran into this hardcore right away. As I mentioned before, the first thing I was told was to go make a friend, right? So that stayed in my mind. And I got better as a dance instructor. I got better as a dancer. And I got really good at making friends right off the bat. The problem was I got so good at making friends that that's exactly what I did with a lot of new students who were coming in.
Yeah, they'd be like,
And
do I have to do it?
Right.
Like,
They loved working with me because they felt like I was their friend.
But they wouldn't take recommendations.
they stopped taking recommendations from me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I would ask them to do something, they would say no. But another teacher would ask them, and the teacher they would say yes to that teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept going, what's going on? And finally pulled me aside and they said, well, Jonathan, you're kind of like, the friend zone. Like you're the guy who's not quite the boyfriend, but hangs around like he's the boyfriend. But they come and see just to spend time and hang out with, and sometimes they cry on your shoulder, but they never do anything with you or for you because they don't believe in recommendations. And I'm like, whoa, when did I lose that? Where did I step over my bounds? And it's because I put all the emphasis on make a friend, make a friend, make a friend. And when I started to pull that back and make a connection, but still maintain my position as the expert.
Yeah.
That's when everything really started to develop for me. And I just started getting to that place before I started working with Kathleen. And when I got with her, she helped me nourish that. And that idea. And I started becoming the kind of person that people came to for information. Whereas before, they didn't always do that. They came to other teachers for that information.
Sure.
Which was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it's important. So whether you make long relationships with your clients or you make short relationships and it's just a transactional sale, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You still have to be positioned as an expert for them to buy into what you're going to recommend.
Right.
And one of the ways you do that is by asking questions, because amateur salespeople often talk a lot and will tell you a lot of things about their product, and like, oh, you want a TV? Let me show you this one. Blah, 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 blah. You don't even ask what room it's for. Like, what?
And what person doesn't want to be asked questions? I always equate to this. Think about going on a date, right?
Yes.
You don't want to get on a date with someone and the person in front of you across the dinner table is talking about themselves the entire time and haven't asked you a single question about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's uncomfortable for anyone, I would say. And I think that all the time, even a business transaction, I want to know who I'm servicing. I want to know who is asking for my aid and how I can help them.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of that unless I ask questions.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. How many of us have been to the doctor and you wish the doctor asked you more questions?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, right?
This goes for anything.
Which is even worse because the doctor you feel is so much of an authority.
But are they? Do they really have the whole picture?
And then you walk away saying he's a quack. Right? Because
he doesn't know how to ask
he
questions.
has no idea how you actually feel. And that's what they don't.
He just read a chart. And that's what so many salespeople do, is they just make an assumption, a snap decision without all the pieces of information. Each person is a story. Each person has a whole movie that has happened in their life up until now.
Right.
And they have a reason for why they're there. All the other pieces of the puzzle will show you. And it may be a big, long story that got them to this point, why they're walking in to make a purchase. Maybe it's buy a car, maybe it's buy a house, maybe it's investments. You don't know. There's
getting
so much
to the story is so important. This is why it's going to be a two-parter, I'm sure.
I know.
But getting to the story is important because the story will tell you what to do for them. Many of us have several products that we're offering people.
Sure.
Whether it's tangible or intangible.
Right.
Regardless, you won't know which products to give them without the questions being answered and without the story being developed, because their story will sell them.
Yeah, and then when they tell it, they're going to tell you everything they need. If your ears are wide open and you have a pen and paper, whether they're in front of you or not, I recommend you taking notes. And if you really care, who doesn't want the doctor to take notes when he asks questions? Are you sure you got this? The waiter. Are you sure you got this? I don't want the wrong stuff back.
Two ways to kind of put it in perspective. If you've ever seen a therapy session, whether online or in person, or been to one yourself, this is exactly what happens. The person who is giving the therapy, a therapist, is writing down constantly.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And at the end of the writing, when everything is said and done, they repeat back to you exactly what you said to them. Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing is that you're feeling uncomfortable because of this. Or what I think you're saying is that you don't appreciate when they. And the person goes, yeah, you're right. And they feel so good and so validated and feel like, oh my gosh, she's so wonderful. She listens to me. That's it. This person listened to everything you said. They validated what you said. And they didn't have to even give you any aid to change it. all they had to do was say, now do you feel better? What would you like to do? What would you prefer happened?
That's coaching.
And then they walk away and they go, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
The therapist doesn't have to give one iota of
They
information
just got good at asking
or what they think, no opinions whatsoever. They're really good at asking questions. And
now, this is a certain situation, and that's not all therapists.
Right. No,
do not do that.
yeah, exactly.
And that is actually from a study. So what he's quoting
Yeah,
is
sorry,
a study.
but
Let's all get some perspective real
Thank
quick.
you. Not all of them are like that. It's not a blanket
hold on.
statement.
So the perspective is that they actually had two groups of therapists. This was a blind study, and they had two groups of therapists who sat in a session. The one group, they talked, they kind of gave advice, they gave some opinions and things, and some of their education came out. And then the others, they literally just took notes and repeated back the last sentence of what the person said, or the last thought of the person. And when they left the room, the people who were in the room with the person who repeated them back thought that they were smarter than these people. They thought they were smarter because they just repeated back what they had said.
Yeah.
And so that's crazy. But so there's a 4-part process to this. So you ask permission to ask questions. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Because I have a lot of solutions. I have a lot of products. I have a lot of options. If they ask about price, the price can range from $20 to $10,000 or $25,000. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. I have lots of options. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions so that I can give you the right answer for you?
Write that down.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions so that I can give you the right answer, or so that I can make the right recommendation, or so that I can, whatever it is, you want to give them a benefit?
Yes. Yes. And now this person is listening to what you're saying, and they're hearing, this person cares about me. Mm-hmm. They want to know how to actually help me.
And this is based on a survey. There was a survey done of all customers for a certain period of time, and they wanted to be asked permission to ask questions. They didn't just want to be asked questions. They wanted you to ask them permission to ask questions.
It's huge. When I started doing this, it became so much easier, whether on the phone or in person.
The illusion of control. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're in control. It's not the illusion. I mean, they feel like they're in control now. They don't feel like you're trying to take control of the conversation. You're just trying to guide it properly for them. Exactly. I'm not trying to take over your tour.
It goes back to the doctor.
I just want to know, do you like seeing the ocean, or do you like seeing the city better? I don't want to take you to the wrong place and show you the wrong stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
And it goes back to the doctor. The doctor comes in and asks questions because you feel like the doctor knows more than you already.
Right.
So when they come in and they ask you that question, do you mind if I ask some questions? Now you're like, oh yeah,
Please do. I wanted to share my story.
Right. Because they want to talk about it. So.
Yeah. But you don't want to challenge the authority figure.
Right.
And when it's the doctor, it's easy to think of them that way. When it's a salesperson, you don't always think of that, but it gives them position.
And we kind of like just brush right by that. But I think that if you guys have a chance to rewind that back again, the part that she mentioned about the money.
Oh.
When I first started getting on the phone and I started speaking to the customer about things and what's going on, I would do the first part she said, and they would throw the money at me. How much does it cost? And I used to just tell them, and in the exact same way, with the hang up and no lessons booked.
Yeah, when they ask questions, the other presupposition is, you remember we talked about, you know more than them. So when they ask questions, they don't know the questions to ask.
Yes.
They don't know what to ask, so they ask whatever they can think of. And the only thing people really can think of is, how much does it cost? How much time does it take?
Yes, that's pretty much what it comes down to. And if you answer that question directly, you're not actually answering the questions that they want answered.
That's not what they want to know. They have other way more deeply seated questions that are hidden that they don't know how to ask yet. So our job is, as the expert, ask the right questions so they can share what they want to share, that they don't know they need to share. You
want to help control that part of the conversation because you are the guide. Mm-hmm. Right? If you were taking people on an actual tour and there was a line there, there's a line there, and you knew that if they crossed that line, they were going to get eaten by a shark. You would tell them, you would explain to them, hey, we should probably back off the line. Yeah. This is you controlling the conversation accordingly to help the person.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Guiding them.
You want to just
selling them.
Right.
You're not like doing something to them. You are guiding them through the right questions so that you can give the right solution
Precisely.
that benefits them.
So try your best to make sure that you express it just like that. She mentioned before, I have different products and all range from different amounts, from $20 to $100. What I'm really looking for is to give you exactly what you need and what you're looking for. So if you don't mind, may I ask a few more questions to ascertain that? And it's easy. The people will say, yeah, of course, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then now you have the ability to get the information necessary to give them what they desire. And that is a beautiful transaction. Mm-hmm. So that's why we say there's no such thing as objections. You just don't give in to them right off the bat. And no matter what they say, there's always a way to get them back to their story and get their story to sell them on their own. And that's something that she's going to go into a little bit later as well if we get a chance to tonight.
I don't know if it's going to be tonight. I feel like
I feel like right now this is a strong place right here.
Yeah.
This is good.
So that you're asking permission to ask questions, and then you ask them questions. That I do want to get through at least two of them.
Yes, let's ask the questions.
So then you ask questions. You're going to ask discovery questions. Questions that you need to know based on what you have. When I was in cell phones, there were a lot of questions. Where do you live? Where do you work? Those don't sound related to it, but if you use your cell phone, it matters. So those are potentially really invasive questions, right? Mm-hmm. Where do you live? Where do you work? Things like that. There's also, before we even get there, I did think about this too. When we're talking about rapport, I've heard multiple schools of thought on how rapport works. Mm-hmm. And rapport is not commonality. So what I'm doing when I'm getting in the person's head and trying to be curious about them, I'm thinking of things that I would like to ask, or things that, especially with a phone number, I love to know if they were from a certain area. Like if I have the time, I'll look up where this area code is if I don't know it already. I've lived in a lot of places, so I know a lot of area codes. But I will figure it out and then say, so are you from Georgia? And they'll say, oh, actually, and I'm just curious, right? I'm just curious about them as a person. What brought you here? That might be a big story. I got a divorce, or, you don't know what moved someone from somewhere. So knowing a phone number is kind of like this thing that opens up a big story usually.
Right.
Especially if it's not your local phone number, obviously. If it's your local phone number, it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
But knowing where someone else is from is really interesting, and that opens up a door to a lot of stories that can be told. And I think that is one way to open up the door to rapport rather than the commonality. So I was trained multiple times too. The commonality is not something you want to do. The Me Too thing. Right. It shuts the conversation down so fast, because now what? Now how do you go back? How do you put it back on them? How do they get to talk about themselves again? You're like,
culprit.
Me too. So was I. Oh my gosh. I had to do an exercise with it. We tossed the pen back and forth. If you said me too, you had to hold on to it. Oh, you got to get rid of it. So, or as long as you were talking about yourself. Yeah. You toss the pen. It's a good practice exercise if you're a Me Tooer. But so, even when I find something in common, I don't necessarily Me Too it. I like to ask more questions about it, because if I can find something that I know something about, that I know they know something about, then I can ask them questions about their experience with whatever it is and whatever. I'm still going into these questions about the person, so that I can discover, what it is that I need to know. And I'm going to tell you this: if you're in a short sales process business, you do not have as much time. If you're in a long sales process business, you need to spend this time. Let's say you're in insurance sales, or like dance lessons.
Car sales.
No, that's a short.
No?
That's a short process.
Never when I go.
It's one day.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean like
yeah,
you
we're talking about like months. Insurance, they're not necessarily going to sell you insurance over the phone. They're going to have to come meet with you and talk to you, and like come to your house. Like if it's that kind of a long, long game. Yeah, if it's like a long sales process. No. I'm talking about days, weeks. If it's a long sales process, thank you for clarifying that, though, because in my mind that's obvious. Not obvious to everyone. But yeah, if it's like a multiple day kind of thing where you set appointments and you meet them again and you do this and then you meet them again, then it's absolutely necessary to make that good rapport.
So selling a house would be like that.
Yes. Yeah, you want a relationship with that person as fast as possible. So asking more questions and getting deeper without necessarily getting to, okay, what do you need from me? Because when you're selling a house, you expect a lifelong relationship with that realtor, right? And yes, you expect them to be a professional, but it's not like when you meet them for the first time, you do not want to be business. You want to be a person.
Right.
Eventually, you can respect them as a realtor, see how busy they are, and be okay that you are business.
Yeah.
And they respect that about you. They know you care about them. But the very first thing, it can't be like, okay, well, I only have this much time to talk to you. Let's go.
Gotcha.
They need to know that you're willing to take the time to care now.
Yeah.
It's like kindergarten, right? The beginning of a relationship, you have to spend a lot more time than you would in college learning a skill or something.
Which makes complete sense. That's what we did.
Exactly.
That's what we did.
Exactly. You have to, because it's a very long relationship that you're expecting lifelong. So that being said, when you get to that curiosity stage, I get curious so that I can like them. Because if I don't know anything about them, it becomes about me and I'm worried they won't like me.
Right.
It's not about me. I have to like them first. Then they'll like me automatically.
Yeah. People like people that like them.
Exactly.
And they need to know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you.
And if you are less confident, this helps with confidence. I adopted this on my own. I would ask these getting to know you questions, and I would ask, are you more movie theater, stadium type people? Because we taught a step where we go side to side. And for me, that opened the door to so many possibilities of conversation. If they were stadium type people, they may be sports people, they might be concert people. I get to find out so much about them. And I'm like, okay, what kind of music do you like? What kind of sporting events do you go to? If they're like neither, actually, we go to auditoriums. Oh, really? Do you go to like music concerts, like orchestral concerts, or is it ballet? Like, what is it? You know, or they're like, oh, movie theater. What kind of movies do you see? What's the last movie you saw? I like to figure out things that I can find to like about them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So if there's some kind of orientation question that you can ask these people, you know, the phone number, whatever it is, I don't care, but find a reason to like them.
Excellent. I agree. 100%.
And
I
that's
agree.
because they can sense your lack of confidence if you don't already like them, if you're worried that they're not going to like you, or you're worried that they're going to know more than you. Then especially in DISC, the D style personalities are going to sniff that and they're going to stomp on you, and you're going to hate it because you're going to feel awful at the end of the sales process.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to buy, and you're going to feel bad.
Yeah, that's definitely part of the two-parter. That's going to be the second part is how to.
Maybe that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, that getting to like them early, and I know we rewound there. So that helps you though to be able to build the rapport too, to ask those personal questions so that you're giving them the right recommendation. And it's always because you want to give them the right recommendation. You want to know that what you're telling them is the right thing. So you ask them the questions, you ask good questions for your product. For anyone, what is it that interests you in this? Tell me a little bit about what your goals are, and whether your goals can be anything. You've got goals in business, you've got goals in relationships, you've got goals in health, you've got goals in
fitness.
All kinds of things. So what are your goals? What are we doing this for? Is this for something like, or do we have a short-term goal? Like, where is this? What would you like to be in 6 months? Talking about what we're talking about, right? Then, well, how long have you wanted to? That's something important. It depends on if you're doing a physical product or something else too. But
it could be the same way. If you're selling makeup, how long have you been satisfied with your makeup?
I was going to go somewhere with that. I mean, like, what happened to your last one? That was what I was thinking about that. Like, if it's a physical product, what happened to your last one? Because nothing upsets me more than a bad sale. That might be hyperbole, but it might be close to the truth. Because what happened to your last one? Man, that can open the door to so much information. If it's a car and maybe they got in an accident, then maybe they need the gap insurance. Maybe you have a reason now. I would never want you to go through that again. Oh my gosh, that sounds awful. I definitely have something that'll help you with no matter which vehicle we go with, which car we go with today. Whether it's your refrigerator broke, whatever it is, you have to know what happened. If they dropped their phone, well, you definitely need the cracked screen. You don't have to make that recommendation then, but log it away so you know when you come to the point where you're going to make the recommendation after they've told you that. I would hate for that to happen. I would never want for that to happen to you again. That's a writer downer. Whenever they say happen to the last one, if you do deal in physical products, I would never want that to happen to you again. And then move on, and you keep asking more questions and get into more stuff, but definitely keep it in the back of your mind. So when you come to the recommendation, which is step 4, then you won't have to skip something that would really, again, unknown need, tick them off in the end.
Right.
And it does tick them off. Because when the problem happens, they'll be like, why didn't that person tell it to me?
The entire time that they are talking to you about these things, you're asking these questions, you're logging that information. You're not supposed to solve their problem right then and there. I think that's important to say, because I did that in the beginning.
Same.
They would tell me something like, for example, I say, what happened to the last one? Oh, well, my car broke down and the engine actually just, fell apart and the transmission just fell to the bottom of the car on the road, and I don't even know how that happened. And I thought I bought a good car. And I say, I would never let it happen to you again. So because of that, I've got this protection plan and get you a brand new engine if you're under 20,000 miles, like all these things of why it can never happen again. And now I'm selling the person. And
they don't even told you anything else.
So I don't really know what to recommend. I just know that I don't want that to happen for them, and they appreciate
that. And
that.
here's why we do it. We do it because we're excited. Yes. We're excited that we have a solution to a problem they have. And so again, it's almost about us again, instead of it being about them.
Right.
But we are excited.
We want to share.
We want to do something right for this person.
I can help you.
Yeah.
I can help you right now.
Yeah.
Just say yes. Yeah. So that's important. Just to go over that for a second and try your best to just log that information and wait to the 4th step.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
yeah.
Could you just give a couple more questions?
Yeah, for sure.
A couple examples, a few more questions to ask.
For sure. Definitely what happened in the last one, or have you tried this before? How long have you wanted to do this? If they say a long time, well, what made you want to do it right now? A long time. How long is long? People skirt questions because they don't think you really care. Really care. If it was your friend, you would really care.
So true. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really quick story. I will never forget this. Impacted me so much when it came to asking questions, because I'm the kind of person that I believe you shouldn't pry, right? If someone is a little standoffish they're a little standoffish and they seem like they don't want to talk about it, then just don't talk about it. That's a faux pas. It's taboo. Not this one. And it serves her well. We're sitting at a table and this woman is there and we're just met, and she loves Kathleen, of course, because she talked to Kathleen on the phone. Everything's going great. We're having a conversation. And I look down and I see this scar on this woman's neck just underneath her pendant. And I think to myself, I wonder how she got that. Right after that, Kathleen says, I see you have a scar on your chest there. How'd you get that?
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, well, actually, very interesting story. And just goes off about it. And I thought, why would you ask that woman about her scar? I mean, it's unsightly. I'm sure she was uncomfortable about it. No. And just a week later, we went to an event, and the gentleman told a story about the fact that he asked about someone's eye, because he had a glass eye. And when it was a woman, actually. He asked about this woman's eye. And she said, thank you so much for asking. Most people look at me like it doesn't exist, and it actually offends me. It bothers me that people just look right through me or don't look at me at all because of it. I don't feel seen. And in that moment, I thought, how powerful. Kathleen must know this, because this person will do business with that person for the rest of their life because they feel cared for and understood and they feel seen. And when you ask these questions, remember, you're asking to see them. You're asking to know them. You're asking to help them truly.
Mm-hmm. To love them.
So yes.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So how to share that? You're amazing. So anyhow, continue.
So, what questions was I saying? What are your goals? And I would ask them, what does that mean to you? Why is this important to you? What is that?
Yeah.
And let them tell you, and I write them down.
Yes. If you're not good remembering, write it down. Because the stories will just start coming. Mm-hmm. You'll be laughing and talking and having a good time building that rapport. And you might forget to write something down. And then later on, you have to come back to make the recommendation to be the professional. Because you have to be the friend, be the professional. You may not have it. So I learned to write things down very quickly. And
because they give a lot of information.
Yeah. When you do this, they become so much more open with you that the sale becomes easier. But you're still not there yet. You're not home free. You have to be the professional. So that's what we're getting into next.
And I mean, even at Best Buy, they told us, write it down. We had a recommendation sheet. We wrote down everything that I wish now I was even better at it then. Like
you are now?
Oh my gosh. If I was as good now as I was then.
What I know now.
Right? Yeah, exactly. If I knew, I would be amazing at it now. But they gave us the formula. They gave us everything. I just didn't know the importance of it. And that was the one piece that I was lacking, was I didn't know why I needed to do it. I didn't know the impact it would have on the other person until I was on an airplane and I had a recommendation sheet with me and I filled it out for this person who was on the airplane. And you know what's funny? Maybe a month later, someone else came into my store with a recommendation sheet from someone from an airplane or someone from somewhere else that they were visiting. And they're like, they gave me this. And I'm like, man, it's so important. This is your recommendation. You can go into anyone. And it was, I mean, that's with a chain, right? That's really awesome. But even just the fact that I knew the tools we had and I knew how to use them.
So important.
And once I saw how useful it was, I was like, oh man, they don't have to remember anything. They can have it all written down for them right there. What a benefit. But anyway, the tools are there for you. Just write things down. If this is like, again, if this is a multiple appointment kind of sales process where it's long term, then you have lots of time to do this, and you want to keep files and things really organized, because especially the more you get, the more people you get, the more you're going to really want to be able to reference them.
Yeah.
And have some good CRM at some point. But if it's a short, like you're in a store or you're on the phone real quick, one off phone calls, then still get as much as you can so that you can give them the best recommendation that you can, because you need to know as much about the things that would impact your product. Now, next time we're going to talk about a lot of the other stuff that's going to help you really, really get there. This is a framework. So when you're asking all these questions, you're really getting them to paint you a picture of the future. Why is this important to you? What does this mean? What would happen if you didn't do this? So I hear what you're saying. This is what your goal is, right? And you do want to repeat that back to them. Your goal would be to, in 6 months, be wherever.
Yes. Repeat it back is important.
Repeat it back. Yeah. Am I hearing you correctly? Because you don't want to get the wrong thing. And this is step 3, is repeat back and gain agreement. But you do it in one time and then you're going to do it again. So you're going to get, what would happen if you just stayed right where you are? And in 6 months, nothing changes. We're going to go into all of this like way more next time.
Yeah, I don't have time for that right now. But
I don't.
This is the framework.
But yeah, this is the framework. And then let them tell you. Let them tell you, okay, you stay exactly where you are right now. You never, unfulfilled dreams, right? You're not fulfilling your dreams. So what would that mean to you? What would that impact? How would that affect you? And then, oh, wow, I would never want that to happen to you. So you repeat back what their goals are, what their impact would be, why it's important to them, however you want to say it. And then you ask them, did I understand correctly? Is this what you're looking for? Great. Do you mind if I make a few recommendations? Then you make your recommendation. And that's when you go through whatever products you think they need. You share with them the benefits. You share with them why this is going to be good for them. The benefits, again, next time we're going to talk all about the benefits and painting a picture for them so that they can really understand what's happening. This time, I just want you to have like the structure and the pre-work, the pre-mental work. And so at that point, then you can recommend whatever it is you recommend and then ask them, I think this is where you were going to come in with.
I'm so excited.
Do you want to put it on your card or do you want to pay with a check?
Yes, exactly. And that's the crazy part, is that when you, this is the framework, but when you follow the formula, asking that question at the end is a no-brainer. They're going to want to work with you. They're going to want to purchase from you. They're going to want to do business with you, period. because of the transaction, how wonderful it was. And that's where a lot of us, I think, miss the boat is the beginning portion. So that's why it was so important today to go over the mental connection that you have to have for yourself and with the person that you haven't even met yet. And it may seem ethereal, it may seem crazy. We tell you it works. It works because
Jesus loves us before he met us. God loves us
Right?
before he met us.
Right?
Like, he didn't wait to meet us and then like us. Like,
And just before we go, I like, you know, I bragging about her. I love her so much. She's going to come out with a book sometime in the next year. And it's going to be life changing because it's what all the influencers, all the people in business today, everybody who's with a change of business today is talking about. And that's about this exact thing. How to care so much about a person that you've never met that all they want to do is get to know you as well. And through that, business transaction is simply getting information from somebody that you trust and respect to help you with what you need. And that's the transaction. That's how simple it is. It's not I'm selling anyone anything. It's not I have to now coerce this person or encourage this person enough to make them say yes to me. And if they give me an objection of any kind or a reason why they don't understand it, I have to fight it now. I got to work hard.
battle in the
It's
office.
so easy when you got the right mindset and you follow the system. So next time around, we'll delve deep into that about how to actually get the individual to ultimately sell themselves.
Yeah.
And,
I don't want to say that. People have a negative connotation
well, then,
about that.
I
don't.
I know that sounds
but
terrible.
I don't want you to feel like I'm getting them to sell themselves.
So let's be honest with this.
I'm letting them speak to their own subconscious mind what they want. I'm not putting any thoughts in their mind. I'm helping them to bring it out of them and actually speak what they want.
And that's important because remember, they came to you already sold. They already made the decision to come to you. All they're looking for you is to guide them.
Interest.
So basically, they've already sold themselves. All you did was explain to them what they purchased.
So before we go, I'm going to give you this little nugget, and hopefully I'll get the next date. So I think of the sales process a lot like dating. The customer comes to you. So in my mind, when the customer comes to you, I'm not cold calling. If you're cold calling, then you're going to them and asking them for a date. If they say yes, great. So but this person comes to you, asks you for a date, right? It's a phone call, it's an email address. They ask you, they're interested in you, they want something. So you get that relationship started because of them, not because of you. They were interested first. Your job is keep the interest. Somehow they got interested.
Yes.
Keep their interest. And it's funny because one of our bosses used to say, be the marrying type. And I took that to heart. I thought, he's right. I want these people to want to see me all the time and be the type that they want to marry.
Yeah.
Not really, but subconsciously. Like there's something about the type of person you would ask to marry and the type of person people are like, wow, that one that got away, you know? Like that's what you want to be. Yeah. You want to be that for them. So whatever it is that person needs, whatever your ideal client is, be the marrying type. Be the one that keeps getting them to come back and come back and come back because they're interested.
Yes.
You do something that keeps them interested.
Yeah.
And you fulfill their life in some way. You give them something positive. You're adding to their life.
Yes. And everything you do, make sure that it's adding to someone else's life.
Always. Yeah. So on that note, let's go light up your life. Add to someone else's life. And next week we will continue on this sales training, going into way more in depth into the questions
much
that
deeper
will
dive.
Really get them to paint a picture for you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.